Say what the Libertarian Party's stance on abortion is. We respect your right to be pro-life, to be pro-choice, to have whatever opinion you want on this. We aren't going to vilify you for it because we recognize that your belief isn't coming from wanting to murder babies or wanting to control women's bodies. It comes from a deeply held belief and value. And we recognize that, and we believe that also. And the Republicans say this all the time, but they never actually deliver. We believe that your taxes, that you should never be taxed to pay for anything that you find to be repugnant, and that would include abortion. We don't think that people should be taxed to pay for abortions, and we actually would follow through on that. Republicans love dangling that carrot every single election cycle. We're going to end Planned Parenthood, and instead they continue its funding. They actually increase its funding through Medicaid and Title IX every single cycle. And so we would absolutely end. If you are pro-life, we're the only party that's going to end taxpayer funding for abortions. The greater question about abortion, I'm now giving my personal opinion. The only effective way to end abortion, to make it illegal, would be to, and it wouldn't actually end abortion, it would just make it illegal. The only effective way to make abortion illegal is to grant the 14th Amendment protections to preborn children, to fetuses, to embryos, to zygotes, and so forth. And you would have to set it at the very moment of conception, because otherwise it's some arbitrary line that can be changed at will. It would have to be the very moment that it had its own DNA, it is now its own person and has the protection. Now, if you're pro-life, you might say, that sounds fantastic, let's do that right away. I wouldn't be here if that's the case. Because when my mother, who had 7 or 8 miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies before she had me, after she'd had about her first or second one, the government would step in and go, no, you're not having any more pregnancies because it is very likely that it's going to be terminated, and if that happens, you will be charged with negligent homicide because you will have knowingly created a constitutionally protected life that you had every reason to think would die, and here we are, it's now dead. So I wouldn't have been born, and many other people here who were not the first successful pregnancy would not be here either. There are many other reasons that, there are many other examples of what could happen. You would end up with a situation where, because now you are dealing with, think about what CPS does to parents every day. Now it's going to do that to pregnant women. It's going to tell you how you have to eat. It's going to tell you how you have to live your life while you're pregnant, because if you don't, you're going to be seen as negligent and contributing to the possible death of a constitutionally protected human being. This is when pregnancy licenses happen. This is when women get back alley abortions because they accidentally, illegally got pregnant without getting a license first. You could potentially have more abortions in the same way that the war on drugs causes more addiction because people can't get help for it. In the same way, the war on women's choice on their pregnancy could potentially lead to even more abortions happening, and those abortions being more unsafe. In order to reduce the number of abortions as much as possible, we have to look at the 2 main reasons that pregnant women give when they have abortions, why they do it. And they aren't because I want to murder babies or because I don't care about children. Usually they're already mothers of other children, and they usually are making this choice for one or both of 2 reasons. Number 1, they can't afford another child, and number 2, they know that if they place the child for adoption, it likely will live in foster care most or all of its young life, and possibly never actually have a permanent adopted home, and face things like negligence, face things like abuse, face things like sexual assault, things that happen, unfortunately, very often in the foster care system. So what do? We address the root cause of these issues. We look at the economic issues. When we end the Fed and return to sound money, when we get rid of bad Republican monetary policies and economic policies, and cause the cost of living to go down, and cause the economy to go up and jobs to go up, there will be fewer pregnant women who won't be able to afford their children. When we get the federal government out of the adoption question and allow adoptive parents to be able to more easily be able to find the child that they were meant to love and to raise and to parent, instead of having that child graduate, that's what they call it, graduate out of the foster system, never having had a stable home in their life. When we deal with the root cause of it, we reduce abortions without criminalizing otherwise peaceful behaviors. We allow folks like me to still be born, because even if it takes their mother having multiple failed pregnancies and fighting hard for 7 years to be able to have them. It leads to an actual protection and respect for life. That is what libertarian policies do. It looks at truly pro-life issues at its core, instead of just criminalizing things and making it worse.